Hey guys, Joni here with Barn Chic Design. So it's been a while since I've posted a video on here. I know last time you guys probably seen me, I was pregnant with child and so we had our daughter in April of last year. So I do have a 2.5-year-old, 2.5-year-old and a 10-month-old that I'm wrangling right now at home, and plus the store. It's my baby also. So anyways, I just wanted to update guys, we're all doing great. She came in the world with a bang, that's for sure. We were hospitalized, not even 2 months old. So I went through a little bit of a rough spell, but she's doing great. Everything's going great. She's healthy, chunky monkey, eats great. So all the blessings that I could ask for. She's doing awesome. So just wanted to give you guys a life update on that one. But if you guys follow us along on social media, you know what I'm about to talk about. You know, like I've been updating my kitchen since last year. I was pregnant, big pregnant, like 32 weeks. I painted one little section of my kitchen cabinets. And then I had her, like I said, she came in the world with a bang. We were busy. And then I finally got around to painting more and more around in June and July. And then these last 3 months, I just quit with the custom orders on the furniture and stuff. And I worked completely on my kitchen, getting it done. So far I've painted my cabinets, painted my island, painted my backsplash, like I said. I have a really cute little laundry door I added on, redid the backsplash, completely ripped it out, found some mold, all that good stuff. All that is on our social media page on Instagram. I have our highlights saved on each project I did in the kitchen, just so if you're updating your home, you want to follow along, you're more than welcome. Maybe you can learn from my mistakes, and that's why I'm doing this video too. I want to show you guys, I know I'm going to have a lot of my customers ask about the marbling, how I did it, and the epoxy and everything, and I really want to be able to show you guys how I did the marbling. It's really fun. I wanted just a heavier marble, and yeah, I really love the marble. It turned out awesome. It's so much better than what I had before. So anyways, I'm going to show you guys before pictures. I'm going to show you during, like I did 3 coats of old whites, and then the marbling and the epoxy, and I'll just kind of give you like a before and after of our kitchen too, so you guys can see all the transformation I did with just paint. It's amazing. So I forgot to mention, you need to remove any caulking like around the base of the backsplash, around your sink. Remove your sink, your stove if you can. If you can't, no big deal. I didn't on mine. I just taped around it. Before you do any taping though, you need to sand and clean really good. I sanded. You don't really have to, but I did. I just wanted to take that extra precaution. Make sure you clean where you eat and where you cook really good. You don't want any oils or greases preventing your paint to sticking to the countertop. And then next I'll tape off. I use this rough surface green Scotch tape, and it clung to my backsplash really well. Tape around your sink. Put 2 layers on the back of your backsplash when you paint. I didn't, and I ended up getting paint on some of my grout in my backsplash. It wiped off, but still, if it sticks to your tile, if your tile's not slick like mine, it might stick into it. So your first coat, you're just going to go around the edges with a detail brush. You can use a foam brush or whatever. Fan out those edges, and then you're going to roll it on. Roll it on thin, so it really adheres to the surface. You don't worry so much about your first coat being about coverage. You want it to more cling and adhere and stick to that countertop. So after I got the first coat on all over the countertops and on the edges, I let it set overnight, about 6 to 8 hours, just so it really had time to adhere to the countertop. Because if you go over your paint before it's really dried and stuck on there, you can kind of pull it back up. So you want to just kind of be careful. Make sure that first coat gets enough time to dry. So this island actually took, about 30 minutes or so for me to do like the full coverage. And I went in with a detail brush around the edges too. So after I got my third and final coat on, I went back and I took Annie's little sanding pad, her fine grit sanding pad that I had, and I just kind of knocked down any rough surface. You can kind of have a little bit of a texture after 3 coats, so I kind of just knocked that down. And then I took a tack cloth and wiped it all down, picked up all the dust because I didn't want any dust on it because I was about to lacquer. And I lacquer because it helps provide a barrier between the base and the marbling, and it allows me to play with the marbling more. If I don't like something, I can erase it with water. So next I applied the lacquer, just normal, 1 thin coat is all you need. I added lacquer in the corners and the edges with a detail brush, and then you just roll on with a large foam roller. You don't need anything really special. I used Annie's. That's what I used to apply the paint to. So I'll also attach a picture of what I want to do. So here's my tester board. I'm just going to kind of play around a little bit, but this is already on the countertop. This is already lacquered, and the reason I did that is because, one, so we could gently use the countertops while I was waiting to get back into painting. We had some family functions, and yeah, so it took me away from being able to get this done. Anyway, so I want to do some stippling on here. I have Country Gray. This is an older can of Annie's, but it's still the same color, Country Gray. I have sponges here. This was one big sponge I think I got from Hobby Lobby, and I just cut it into 4, about your palm size, you know. And then I like the rounded edge because it doesn't give a line. Like this will probably give more of a line appearance, so I'll probably use this less, but these 3 are all kind of rounded. Anyway, so I have Chicago Gray, Old White, French Linen. My Athenian Black is in this little jar, but I also have graphite too over there. These I just have samples. I have some cups. I'm going to mix Old White with Country Gray, graphite with Old White or French Linen, yada yada yada. I have a Wooster brush, which I'm going to use for stippling and fading out. I have just a random assortment of brushes to see what kind of finish they'll give. I really wanted this, I think, for whenever I start doing the veining, really phasing it out or fuzzing it out. And then I have a turkey feather for the veining. You can use a regular feather too, but you know, some of them say the turkey feather is awesome because it's long and it looks more natural. Anyways, whatever you prefer on that. And then I also have lint-free towels, rags, and some more paint buckets. And then here I have my my map. I'm probably not going to follow this so much. I'm going to do more of a 45 because that's natural, you know, how veins go on countertops and such, so on marbling. So anyways, I'm going to try to start, and I don't know exactly what I'm doing per se, but I'm just going to wing it, and I'm going to bring you along with me. So I used the color Country Gray and Old White mixture. It was pretty tan for what I actually liked, but Make sure you offload your sponge when you start doing this. You can see on the board it was heavy in paint and I should have offloaded it. You can always add more paint on top if you need a little bit more pigment. Add some water into it too. If you have too much pigment, you can always add more paint, like I said, on top of it again. I tried the brush, didn't like it, wasn't really doing much as far as fuzzing it out, those harsh lines. So I sprayed some water on there and used my rag and kind of blotted back. Then I stippled again. I used Chicago gray with a water mixture and kind of went in those void spots where the old white was still showing, the base coat of old white was still showing, and kind of just tried to blend a little bit more into that country gray mixture. This is kind of how Carrera countertops look. They kind of have a warm and cool tone mix to them. So that's kind of what I was trying to achieve. I was working in the motion of where I knew I wanted to put the veining too. So after I tried kind of like fuzzing this out, I grabbed a spray bottle, sprayed some water on, and used a rag, or not a rag, but a lint-free towel, and kind of just started blotting it back. And it blended it a lot more, looked a lot better when I did that. So next I used French linen and a water ratio. I did about 50-50. You can add more, add less, depending on what you need. My detail brush, I just kind of just let it do its own thing with my hand. Notice how I have my hand placed back. Your veining goes every which way. It's not like a controlled straight line. So your veins can kind of Y off. They can kind of branch off, then come back to the main vein. These are the ghost veins, so don't worry about them being so perfect. You're not going to see them with much, detail as what you do the main veins. So after I kind of got some of the veins started, I stippled back with a brush just to fog them out or fuzz them out a little bit more, and it blends them in so much better too when you do this. And then I just kept adding these ghost veins. I probably added a little too much after I look at the board overall, which that's perfect because that's what the practice board is for, to figure out what you like, what you don't like, and what you would do differently. So I just kept doing this, and your veins can be thick and thin in random spots. They don't all have to start in the corner. They can start down at the base. They can start in the center. So just remember that whenever you're doing your countertops. Make sure you give a variety of that look, because you don't want to just automatically start at your backsplash and end at the end of your edge of your countertop. So next, I just took some old white because I had a lot of that country gray. I just did not like how warm it looked on the board. So I added some old white back in. You can do this if you need to give just a little bit more variety of color, or take away if you need to. So then I grabbed my turkey feather. I did round the edges out just to make it, not so square. I used graphite and old white mixture, plus I added a lot of water into it to make it kind of flow easier with the hand off the feather. Same placement as I did my detail brush. Pulled my hand back and I just kind of let the feather do the work. I added some thicker spots in random areas and thinner spots, and I branched off, did Y, just kind of played around, got the feel for the look I was trying to go for. All right, after I got some of my veining done, I grabbed an angle brush. Try to use a fresh one. Don't use the same brush, like the angle brush, for each color of veining that you're doing, just because you don't want to make like dark streaks on the lighter ghost veins. But you just keep stippling them out, same as the ghost veins. I added water if they're too dry. If you fade them out too much, you can add color back in. Just give a variation. Some veins fade out, some, you know, you never see them fade out and they're a little bit bolder. So just play with the variation of color and depth, and just keep working. And honestly, step back if you need to step back. Get you a drink of water. That helps to kind of give you fresh eyes on the board to see what you did. So look at your board, see what you like, what you don't like. I had 2 warm-up tones, so I adjusted. I added more white into my country gray mixture and did less country gray on my countertops, and it turned out perfectly. Also work in sections. I feel like if you try to do one step at a time over the whole countertops, you can kind of overwhelm yourself. So I just worked in sections and step back, look at it, get some fresh eyes, like I said, and make sure you go over the edge of the countertops too. You don't want to forget that veining on the sides too. That's what makes it look real. So next we did the epoxy, and we taped off everywhere. Plastic, paper, all cover everything you can, even if you want covers on your shoes, because you're going to track it all over your floor, so you want to cover your floor. So we did plastic drop all over, and then I added brown paper under, just because I wanted to be able to cut up that plastic on the floor after it was cured after a certain time. But the epoxy still runs off the edge of the countertop, so you still need to protect your cabinets while it's still dripping off. And they have their own tutorial over this. I didn't do it perfectly because it bubbled, so I hate to like show you guys anything different than what they did, because I went off their tutorial. So I used like brown paper around here. We taped off under here too, and then plastic on the rest of the floor. I took my runner up so I wouldn't ruin it, but I had issues with the epoxy bubbling. You guys can see it really good right here, which you can see my hand marks too, but I'm not very happy about that. I did call the company, and they said, you know, after the 7 days you can sand it and re-epoxy it. Yeah, I just was not happy. I just wasn't happy with that. I told the guy, you know, I don't know why it did it. He said there's 3 reasons it can. One being your countertops release a gas, which I hadn't heard that issue. I've heard mixing and pouring it out could be an issue too, which that very well could have caused the bubbling. But I did apply heat. I did a heat gun over the top of it for a long time, and it was popping bubbles, but the bubbles were still rising. So I asked the guy again, I said, well, if I sand down and I re-epoxy, is it gonna bubble again? He said no, considering if it was gases coming off my countertop, then the epoxy that I already have down and that I'll sand down to a smooth finish, it should protect that from happening again. Whether I wanna go with the same company or not, I'm not very happy, because I had emailed him Monday and didn't hear back from him. So I called him Thursday, and yeah, it was like I was just talking to a brick wall. I don't know. I don't want to put that out there, because I know small businesses are hard and stuff. So I might shop around for a different epoxy countertop, because I told him I used the heat gun and it still didn't pop the bubbles. And they have an additive in the epoxy that is supposed to release or make the bubbles rise and release from the epoxy, so you don't have this issue. Well, that didn't happen. So, you know, I'd rather have a company straightforward with me. Like if I need to use a propane torch or something to pop the bubbles, then yeah, you know, just tell me, you know, it's not a big deal. So I don't know, I really love my countertops. I really do. I love the marbling, the faux finish of them. They look, I mean, real. Like, they looked flat before. Let me show you. So they looked flat before, and then when you apply the epoxy, it just makes them look that much more real. Besides the bubbles, Like, everything else turned out awesome. I love the color. I have a distinct, or not a distinct, but a very light shade of warmth in there, just to break up all the white and the grays, and add some warmth of my Roman shade, and then my door. So yeah, I really love them. This is where I started in this corner too, and I think it turned out awesome. So I don't regret it one bit. So if I had to do over again, I would probably research that company's reviews a little bit better, because after I did it, I had bought the epoxy in September, I think, or July or August, I can't remember, and was going to go ahead and do the countertops and then do the backsplash and stuff, but it just didn't work out like that. So anyways, so I ended up using it later on, and I didn't go back and read the reviews, where people said, yes, still use heat, still apply like a propane torch to it to pop the bubbles. I should have went back and read. So just make sure when you guys go to pick out an epoxy, countertop epoxy, make sure you really read the reviews. And I'm not just talking about the website reviews. Those can be completely filtered by the people that run the website, so the company. You want to actually look at reviews on different websites, either if it's Amazon, Walmart, Googling them on a review site, whatever. You guys make sure you read the review. So that's where I fell short, as far as not reading where I was supposed to still apply the propane torch. Anyways, I just want you guys to learn from my mistakes, and yeah, I don't regret this at all. Like, they're beautiful. So they're so much better than what we had before, even with the bubbles. So I love them, and we've been eating on them, you know, and have had no problems with stain or indentions or anything yet, or chipping. So yeah, just make sure, you know, you really follow those steps as far as like what the epoxy company calls for on their manual, on their instructions, and read the reviews for knowledge of like, hey, real people have done this. Here's my feedback on what I should have done differently. So that's just what I would do differently. I mean, like I said, I love them. I'm going to show you guys before and after pictures, before like I even started painting my cabinets, and like after like I just got done epoxying and stuff. So I really love them, guys, and I think we did awesome as far as our first time using epoxy, and I'm probably going to do it again. I just need to perfect my skill. Just like, you know, learning how to do anything, you have to try it, you know, get your feet in the water and see how you do. As far as the marbling, if you want a lot of depth in your marble, you know, add different shades of color variances, like I did, or, you know, you can do the simple white and gray marble. Those are so beautiful too, if you want to keep it really simple, and they look just as good too. So it just depends on the marble you're looking for. And like I said previously, just get you some pictures that you really love. Keep them there by you, either on your phone or print them out next to you, and refer back to them as you're doing the marbling. That's what I did. So it'll just kind of help guide you too. So here's the before and afters. last time they've seen you in here. So don't mind our mess back there.
Say hi.
Say hi. Oh. That is homemade mess back there. So I hope that helps you guys kind of figure out what you want to do with your kitchen, or what you can do with your kitchen with just paint. Oh my goodness. And some toddlers too. They helped. But anyways, I just want to give you guys a different option rather than completely renovating your house. You can easily update your kitchen with paint, new home decor, the cheaper route, before you completely start to renovate, rip out stuff. So follow along on our highlights if you want any of the other kitchen update that I did. As far as our backsplash, our laundry door, I did a fun wood finish, and this backsplash that you see here, the island, prepping your cabinets. I did all of that detail work on our highlights on Instagram. So be sure to subscribe. I'll try to keep updating on YouTube as much as I can. You know, so just whenever I get time. Yeah. You guys, thank you for watching, and see you later.